What's going on, guys? Josh here, and like the previous video, I have some more exciting news. I finally got approved for the Capital One venturex, which you know because you clicked on this video. The venturex is my first ever premium travel credit card, and I'm very excited to finally have my hands on it. Now, I know there's been a lot of slander on the venturex recently, and for that, I say if it doesn't work for you, and then it does not work for you. And I get that. But for me, I could not be more excited to have the card. At $395 annually, it's definitely a jump from my previous annual fee credit cards, right? I have a number of credit cards with $95 annual fees, still a big jump from those. But I also recognize that it's not one of the big guns, right? It's not the Amex Platinum with a almost $700 annual fee and admittedly quite a few more benefits. And it's also not the Sapphire Reserve at $550. But because of where I live and the amount of times that I travel, the card made perfect sense. My home airport is Washington Dulles International here in DC, just outside of it, and they have a Capital One lounge. That was one of the biggest reasons why I decided to go for the Capital One venturex. Because my home airport is Dulles and probably will be for the foreseeable future, I'm going to have at least one lounge available to me every single time that I'm flying. Not only do I have the Capital One lounge available to me, which is what I'm most excited about, I also have a Priority Pass membership that I can use to any of the lounges that take Priority Pass at Dulles, as well as Plaza Premium lounges that participate in a partnership with Capital One. So putting all of those together, it definitely makes sense for me to hold this card based on the lounge access alone. However, since I don't typically put a cash value price on lounge visits, I'll go over some of the other reasons why this card is a perfect fit for my wallet and why it might not be for you. So I won't go too much into what you could see on the venturex website, but you clicked on this video, so I feel like I have to give you something, but hopefully this is entertaining at the minimum. With the venturex, me and my fiance, my player 2, have access to a $300 travel credit or discount, whatever you want to call it. Honestly, I don't care what you call it, it's still $300 that I'm essentially prepaying now for travel that I know I'm going to be taking this year and every subsequent year that we hold the card. Of course, there's also that 10,000 anniversary miles bonus every account anniversary, and that's worth at least $100. So some people will say that, oh yes, it pays for the card. And while, you know, it can if you are going to be spending $400 on travel. Otherwise, we need to be careful to make sure that we're getting that value every single year and perhaps traveling a bit more as well. Now notice how I said we. It's because you can get free authorized users on the venturex. So spoiler alert, I am actually an authorized user on my fiance's venturex credit card. I've been trying with the pre-approval tool for months now to get the venturex on my own, and it just kept telling me to kick rocks every single time. So instead of wasting 2 or 3 card pulls, depending on if I freeze Experian or not, because Capital One pulls all of them, I decided, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna see if my fiance can get approved for this card, and she was more than happy to do it because we like lounge access and travel credits for travel we're going to use anyway, so she was totally on board. You know, luck would have it, she was pre-approved for the venturex. Why? I have no idea. She has like 1 less credit card than I do, and I have 7 personal cards, not including this venturex. So, mystery there, but I don't really care. Capital One, if you're watching this, I win. I don't care. But anyway, we went through the application and she was approved with a $20,000 credit line. Not too bad, especially because previously I was facing the reality that I wouldn't even have the card to begin with. So very happy with the result, even if it was a roundabout way to getting the card. Of course, if Capital One decided to start charging people for authorized users, then we might have a bit of a problem. And frankly, I'm kind of surprised that they don't, but Capital One do not get any ideas. Anyway, moving on, of course, as the authorized user, I don't technically have access to some of the benefits that the primary card user has, but I am an account manager, so I can make payments and things like that. And we do only get one $300 credit, and also the 10,000 miles will only be awarded as if there was just one person. So there's no double dipping with it. Like, you couldn't add like 2 authorized users and each of you get your credits. It doesn't work like that. But if I were to make the purchase of a flight through the Capital One portal as the authorized user, the credit would still kick in as if I were the primary card holder. Just has to be shared between the two of us. But that's okay because 90% of the travel that I take with my fiance, so it doesn't matter in the slightest. It's basically just a card that we share. I mean, it is, but it's a card that will give us both a lot of benefits, even if we're not able to double dip them. And then one final note as to why I applied for the venturex, rather, my fiance and I applied for the venturex, is because 2024 is going to be a much heavier travel year for the two of us. For me personally, I will be traveling 3 times internationally this year, 2 times for work without Player 2, and then once for our Europe trip together. And then I'm also expecting to travel domestically for the holidays next year. I'm going to a wedding and trying to go take a few more domestic trips, shorter flights probably. But even still, that is a lot more travel than last year, not as much as 2022, but for the foreseeable future, I can see myself getting good value out of the venturex. We got the standard welcome offer of 75,000 Capital One miles after you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months from account opening. This was really great timing for us because I personally had a lot of either pre-planned or reimbursable expenses coming up this quarter, so that $4,000 is going to be met pretty quickly. Kind of kicking myself for that a little bit though, because if we had applied maybe 2 weeks earlier, there was a 90,000 mile offer available through people's referral links. But I'm still more than satisfied with that. I'm kind of surprised that the number isn't lower, down to like 60,000 or something like that. Alright, so real quick, go through the multipliers of the card. I've talked about it before, but I'll just briefly mention it. You can get 10 times Capital One miles on all hotels and rental cars booked through the Capital One travel portal. And speaking of rental cars, you do also get Hertz presidential status, so you can get a car upgrade to the next class, which is pretty cool if you're going to be renting a car at some point anyway. And then you also do get 5 times miles on all flights booked through Capital One, and then 2 times on everything else. So it's a catch-all credit card for team travel, but for me on team hybrid, it's really not. You can only redeem your Capital One miles at half a cent per point. So if I'm using it for catch-all, these points are very much going to be used for travel and not so for cash back. There's also the $100 credit every 4 years for either global entry or TSA PreCheck. And this one's going to be handy, just not yet, because that benefit only applies to the primary card holder. So my fiance could get TSA PreCheck and then she could be like, sucker, bye, and go through security, but she's a nice person and wouldn't do that, and I wouldn't do that to her. So we need to get another card that will allow us to each have our own TSA PreCheck memberships or global entry, but probably going through TSA PreCheck just because we'll be traveling more domestically. But more on that in a future video. The card's lounge access is going to be pretty important when we take our Europe trip together in May. We'll be taking at least 2 of our friends with us. It would be kind of mean to just go into a lounge and then make them stay out in the general seating area, so had to find a solution that would allow us to bring our friends as guests for free. For the Capital One Lounge at Dulles, the primary card holder, my fiance, will be able to get in along with 2 guests, and then all authorized users can also get into the lounge, though I don't think they can bring guests. For Priority Pass, however, both the card holder and authorized users can bring in unlimited guests with them. And then with Plaza Premium lounges that participate with Capital One, the card holder can bring 2 guests, and then the authorized user can also bring 2 guests. Of course, we need to be mindful about lounge overcrowding. I know that is a big issue recently, and probably will be for a while. So again, I do want to be cognizant of that fact because these are shared spaces and we want to make sure that everybody can enjoy them. So we definitely limit the amount of time that we'll stay in this lounge, or we could just go to the Capital One lounge first and then migrate to a Priority Pass for a little bit before our flight. The venturex also has primary collision and damage waiver insurance for a rental car, which is great, but also my Sapphire Preferred and Built MasterCard both have it as well, so I guess I have my pick of the 3. And then lastly, with a Capital One card, you do of course get access to Capital One Entertainment with exclusive pre-sales and things like that. And for my fiance, this means Taylor Swift concerts. It will probably be a heck of a lot easier to get a concert ticket or an event with Taylor Swift, so my fiance's nickname for the venturex is the Taylor Swift card. Alright guys, enough of me rambling about the card and why I wanted it and how I'm going to use it. Let's get into the real reason why you might have clicked on this video, the unboxing. So I was expecting just like a plain white envelope, but the card actually came in a larger brown envelope. Woo! But anyway, tearing it open here, and what do I find? A white envelope. It's like, okay, thanks, Capital One. But anyway, I mean, I knew I was gonna get this. I wasn't gonna get a fancy box or anything. Like, why would I get that? Totally didn't get that with the $0 annual fee built MasterCard or anything, but I digress. We've got all these lovely terms and conditions and benefits guides available that I will spare you of going through every single page of, but those are there. Pretty cool. Just to see it all, I guess. Unboxing is always fun. Just feeling them now, they're pretty nice. Like, it's a good metal card. It's not the heaviest. I was debating on whether it was heavier than the built card. I mean, I don't have a scale or anything, but if somebody knows, please let me know. But it's definitely heavier than something like the Sapphire Preferred. I really like this design. It's sleek, modern. There's a shine to it, and then you can't see this, of course, but on the back there's the card numbers and everything. It's all engraved in. It's all printed on the back. I suppose it's kind of engraved a little bit, but none of this embossed crap. It's a sleek card. And anyway, enough of the nerding out. But thanks so much for watching, everyone. What do you think about the card? I'd love to know, so please leave a comment below. And if you don't like the card, that's cool too. I totally get it, but for me, it makes sense. I appreciate each and every one of you as we continue to build out a community together on this channel. I've been Josh. Take care, and I'll see you next time.